Hi guys, welcome back to Aromatherapy. This is the chemistry and the anatomy of aromatherapy. So this is something that's just a brief description. The word aromatherapy might make people assume it's all about the smell and aromas working, but it goes far wider. Not everybody likes certain smells, so it wouldn't really be effective at all if that was the case. Essential oils are very complex chemical structures, and it's quite important to know chemistry in order to fully understand aromatherapy. Humans have a very complex and complicated, even the fluids in the body, chemical structure, and this is the same as essential oils, which some do refer to as the life force. Not everyone, but most do. It's more like your Chinese medicine and such. So this is regarding the growth of plants. Obviously, grow, wither and die. Well, that's exactly what we do. The size and growth changes are enabled by chemicals, whether organic or inorganic, which is living or not. Three main chemical elements make up humans and plants: carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, but there are also thousands of trace elements. Humans take these elements via breathing, eating, drinking. Plants do obviously take them in by absorbing them through soil, water, air, so you get hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen and other elements. This is how humans and plants get the proteins in order to grow and repair. Obviously, this is biosynthesis, the natural turning of simple elements being processed and turned into complex chemical groups. Every leaf and flower is made up of tiny fragments of chemical elements known as atoms. So obviously when atoms link up together in a group, they are then molecules, which then join together and form all the various plant parts along with its essential oils. The link between a simple element, so an atom of carbon or an atom of hydrogen as a single, will change to a complex group, which is a collection of atoms joined together, known as molecules. Those are fed from the sun. Obviously, it's the sun that helps them grow. So the sun's energy is captured by the plant's chlorophyll, which is the green pigment in the leaves. And obviously it's used to create carbon dioxide in the air and other organic substances. Now, that is just photosynthesis. It's very basic photosynthesis, obviously. Carbon and oxygen are products of it. Carbon is then used to make organic compounds, hydrocarbon and sugars, and that's when some more oxygen is released. The sugars, obviously they feed the plant itself. It takes the sugar to feed off it and it'll grow, etc. They are the basic metabolisms, keeping the plant alive. But further metabolic changes do occur. One of these products being created is the essential oils. And there's your atom, singular, and group of atoms, molecule, multiple. So obviously the atom is small, it's very small, and it's the smallest possible unit of a chemical element. It's microscopic, and it attaches itself to other atoms, making larger molecules. obviously when the molecules are joined, there's always two or more. It can never be a single, or then it's just an atom. And they have particular qualities. Now, this is where everything varies. So, to create the essential oil, it'll change, and it'll change, even though it may just be a microscopic change within that selection of molecules. It can make a difference to the chemical constituents of the oil. And that's what that's explaining. Yes, pattern, combination, and the amounts. So those chemical recipes are obviously all to do with the essential oils. And each molecule produces a particular effect and has a particular therapeutic quality. That's why it's really important to note that even the same plants, you can take two lavender plants, but if you've got one growing in one particular spot and the other's growing in a different spot with a different soil or climate, the chemical constituents will be different, even though the plant's the same. So in order to understand treatments and benefits, aromatherapists will want to understand the various chemical compositions within these molecules or those molecules. So I split them up to 7 groups because those 7 groups have been studied a lot, and Tisserand has a lot in his book where they have been studied and the differences that they make. So these are the ones you want to probably make notes of if you are interested in aromatherapy, because if you go to the label and you look at chemical constituents, it will tell you whether it's got the terpenes, the alcohol, how much it's got in it as well, oxides, acids, ketones. You'll want to read all that and understand, well, it's got this and this and this in, so. And here it's broken down so that you can see it better. And ideally, it's probably best to note this because it's easier to keep it as a noted section rather than having to remember it off the top of your head at first. There's your next one. Now the ketones, there are safe ones, which is right here for you, your fennel and your jasmine, clary sage, but even with your clary sage you've got to be careful. The last one. This is with the beans. And obviously now you can keep those and go back to them as needed. So a chemotype comes from changes in the properties of essential oils. The same plant will produce different chemicals that will be in the essential oil. Nothing is added or taken from the plant. It's the climate, season, or soil type, as I was saying. This is when a chromatography comes into play, a GLC, gas liquid. Now, a chromatography will be done by a chemical specialist, and it separates the substances in the mixture so it can break down and see the difference in the chemical constituents. So here we have Mandarin essential oil, and it's broken down to the graph. You can see at the side the different things that are in there. Now this is rose essential oil, with two various extraction methods. Look at the difference in the graph. Your steam's your best, your solvent is not. This is your caution for using oils, and it's basic information. You know, the highly flammable, the extinguisher would have to be carbon dioxide foam dry powder, vaporizing liquid, as long as you are trained to use it. Obviously never ever orally take oils, it's so dangerous. And make sure that your area is well ventilated. You know, ensure that your skin test is done prior to treatment. It's usually 24 to 48 hours before. Keep the record up to date. Definitely have all medical conditions. You've got to have contacts on there as well you can get in touch with in case anything happens. Obviously store in dark bottles. It's usually glass amber bottles. I mean, it needs to be dark. The storage area also needs to be dark and cool, because the ultraviolet light's just going to ruin the oils. It'll damage molecules in them. Obviously keep out of reach of children and secure the lids. Now, most oils last for 2 years, except the citrus oils. Now, they only last like 6 months. But bear in mind, if the lid's not on properly, they become oxygenated and they go off. This is something just extra in case you want to take and keep it. These are oils that are not to be used in aromatherapy, but you will find them out there. But they are not to be used in aromatherapy. And I've just popped them in here so you can take them. Obviously we have the common name and the botanical name, just so you can be sure. Now, this is not to say that they can't be in other forms, but regarding essential oils, you don't want to be putting them on the skin, using them in massage or anything like that. They're sort of better put in candles, you know, and other mixtures. Now, the irritation and phototoxicity and stuff, it does vary from every person's really different. Like your sensitive skin's obviously, the more sensitive, the more volatile it's going to be, therefore more likely skin irritation. So this is just letting you know that you would need to know the skin type and their allergies. The patch test obviously should be done 24 to 48 hours before treatment. It's usually, they just have it behind the ear and, you know, the crook of the inside of the arm. The wrist is hardly done now, actually, even though it can be. Now, phototoxicity is also photosensitivity. It's the citrus oils, because they are citrusy, obviously, and they are pure essential oils. And what's going to happen is the sun or any heat treatment, such as a hot bath or sunbed, even, you know, blow drying your hair and that being warm, it's going to cause a reaction. It can even burn your skin. So if you do apply essential oils that are citrus, then please no, leave it at least 24 hours before being in the sun or being near heat, because if it burns you, it actually does hurt. It's the chemicals in the oils that react with the DNA of the cells responsible for the production of melanin in our skin. So it does actually create some bad skin reactions if you do go in heat. Dermal toxicity can appear when too much of a particular oil is absorbed into the skin. And this is when it's used every day or whatever, you know, like too much, because it's being soaked into the skin. And there's particular oils that are more likely to cause this, but the more you use it, if you're going to use it every day, it will be toxic. These are the ones. that have been known for appearing in cases of poisoning via the skin. Probably take a note of it so you know. Now is information for epilepsy, and obviously rosemary, fennel, hyssop and sage, no good with epilepsy because they can bring on or trigger epileptic fits. Now the amenagogues or the menagogues is to do with menstruation and definitely with heavy periods, endometriosis, or anything that is issues with the blood clotting. Those are the oils that you need to avoid, like cedarwood, Larry sage, jasmine, juniper, marjoram, myrrh, peppermint and rosemary, because it's going to bring it on. Now, I know it says about fashioned, but it does mean abortion. Now, there's no evidence to prove that it's caused that via the skin, only obviously through ingesting. But a good qualified aromatherapist, they'll not use the oils that actually would cause this anyway. And if I'm honest, on pregnant women, I would not use essential oils, but that's just my preference. Some people still use some, but I wouldn't risk it. You could use olive oil and stuff, but I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. So estrogen stimulant, obviously, you would avoid aniseed, fennel, and basil, and that's if you have too much, or if you have problems and need medication for it, you would still avoid those oils. So, methods. Inhalation, everyone knows what that is. When you've got a cold or something, you can pop it in cold water, and this is a more delicate way because you can put 2 drops in cold water in a bowl and just leave it somewhere in the room, and it'll just air the room. With the steam method, as you know, if it's just peppermint you're using or something, only 1 drop in your hot water, towel over the head, and breathe in a few times, and breathe in very slowly, but give it a rest in between, because it can, be careful near the eyes because it can make your eyes sting in general. So you want to be very careful when doing it and not under their ages, give yourself a rest. Here's my dog snoring. So the vaporizer is the same. The only difference is it's in oil burners, which are really popular, or a vapor machine. Either way, it does the same thing. The vapor machines usually, though, have their own mixtures to go in them, whereas, a normal oil burner, you pop a couple of drops in water and a candle underneath. Baths. So this sounds crazy, but it's true. Essential oils, they just don't work with water, do they? Now, what we use as an aromatherapist is full cream milk or alcohol such as vodka, because the essential oils will easily evaporate in them. Then the benefit of the oils and the medium mixed together will be felt in the bath. If you just put essential oil in the bath, it's just going to float on the water and do nothing. Your cold and hot compresses, it's usually what you do is you put your oil in whichever water, with, obviously it's better to use full cream milk with the oil if possible. If not, at least put your cloth then straight over so that it's soaking up the oil drops. And the hot's used for your joints, aches, things like that, and the cold is for swellings or inflamed areas. Massage is usually done professionally anyway, but because it enters the bloodstream, there's always the chance of not getting it right, because the way we mix them, or we have carrier and we have top, middle and base notes, and we only have a particular amount of drops to a certain amount of carrier. Obviously never ingest oils. Now, most oils cannot be applied neat. Lavender's an exception because lavender, I think tea tree is being done as well. But it really isn't advisable unless you know that it's okay to do so. So yeah, that's the end of that. Remember, always be safe when using oils and seek professional advice, especially if you're on any medication of any medical condition. It's so important to get those checks. And hopefully you'll have kept all those notes down, especially the chemical constituents, because you'll need to know what's in them. And all those are in every oil, but at a different percentage. So, yeah. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and blessed be.